I hope y'all ain't too sad about me doing that. It is hardcore, it is survival, this is for all the chicks and cookies. And as I was saying before, this, y'all can thank Saros. Ooh, I finally got the copper shit, hell yeah. Y'all can thank Saros TV for this little dirty wind-up stream. Because I love the man stuff. If you get the chance, go check it out. It's capital C, lowercase E-R-O-S, capital T, capital V. Go over there and give him some love, and I mean it. He's a good content creator. He's been doing this shit for a while, and yeah, I don't always agree with him. That's what we talking about today, friends. Because he covered a video that, again, I cannot defend the nurses in this video. They be nurses torquing on old people and dead bodies and such, and I'm like, okay, no, can't defend that. Same as I can't defend the coroner's area here in Georgia. I will look up more details on this when I do a deep talk about it. I think I'm going to do a whole ass fucking stream setup on empathy. Because it's a strong subject I care deeply about, because it's something that... One second. So I got everything? Did I make the boots? I did not make das boots. Das boots. Okay. Let's check out this armor set real quick. Sorry for the also... Oh, I did make the boots. Damn it. But... either way... it don't look that bad. That's doable. That's nice. I like it better when it's all shiny like in the videos, but I ain't gonna complain. That's not bad. But either way, I feel like I need to go to his video to do it justice. Give me a moment. That way I have it playing in the background so I can catch him. Because I don't disagree. I agree 99.9% with his video. And I agree with him on a lot of his other topics, but the nurse situation is horrifying. I agree, and I think he also realizes it's a byproduct of the situation we're on. Now, this was posted 7 hours ago. It's already got 1,900 views, so great for him. Again, Saros TV. TikTok nurse situation is disgusting. Personally, y'all, if you're a kid on TikTok, I'm not going to judge you, because damn them kids in their MySpace. But at the same time, I do worry about how quick that kind of content is killing our empathy. Because he says one thing on here that just made me go full on rage bait. He pointed out that these people are healers and they took an oath and there's empathy. And I agree with all of that wholeheartedly. But I also understand that as people are and as people do. Y'all, you, dear listener, I, the narrator, we can all lose our empathy. That's not true. It is. It is a rare person who can hold on to their humanity in any situation. And there are rare reports of it. There were fucking Nazis in World War II. There were Rwandans in the genocide that protected the people that were supposed to be getting genocided. There are always people on the good. But that's a rare trait, and that's something that's typically born out of that person having a strong bond or a traumatic experience with that type of person. For example, when it comes to pity with old people, I get it. I 100% understand the outrage between some of these people treating these old people the way they do. My direct and immediate hot take, okay, you take care of Grandma then. Seriously, I did it. It's hell. It kills your body, it kills your soul. But when you're done, you're stronger if it didn't kill you. As fucked up as that is, because trauma never makes us stronger, it just makes us stranger. But, y'all, I had a hand in it, and I wasn't there the whole time. Y'all, look back, way back in the vids for that detail. I'm not going too deep, because I still gotta work today. But, yeah, y'all, your empathy can die. It's possible. And you can resurrect it. It just takes work. And today I'm going to try in this first part of this series, in the fun little world of hardcore Minecraft, to try to help you find a way back to your empathy. Or to explain myself on what exactly is empathy. Now, to dig a little bit into the nurse situation, I'm not going to go too far into it, because, yes, for once, I'm giving y'all homework. Go check out Saros TV. I'm not saying be mean. Do not brigadier his channel. Do not... I agree with him. I'm just saying you can't tell me that, you know, empathy's this sacred thing that you don't lose. Because, yeah, you can lose it. Go talk to almost any prison guard right now. I'm not going to say they're bad people. Hell, my ex, I think, did do a stint as a prison guard for a bit. It was after we had broken up. But go talk to some of them. They were good people when they started out. They stay in it too long, and they'll start to view prisoners as less than animals. It's not their fault. For this, we just got to look into the darker experiments. Again, I don't have to go into too much detail with it. Just check out the prison experiment. Type it in, you'll see it. It's a dark time in history that was not done correctly, and if we found, it was Harvard, I think, did it. And I think there is a way to redo it today. It's just, we should be using AI for things like that. We should build an accurate enough AI model to be human-esque, and then ask it the what you call them questions, the real deep what makes a human questions, you know? Because I don't think that people should have to go through some of these things, but I also don't think that we can get an accurate handle on things without them. It's gonna be a rambly one, y'all. I don't have a script. I'm just running off the cuff here, and I'm trying to give him a proper response, because I did a very long comment in his stream, and it wasn't, I don't think I did it right. I feel like I was probably not, I don't think I encompassed my point well enough, because it is a personal-esque topic for me. Because again, my great-grandmother spent, I was a very young child at the time, but I want to say I was like 8 or 9 at the time, but she spent a good 5-6 years in a nursing home, I want to say. After she had had a stroke, the hospital had said to send her there for recovery. They deemed that she was unrecoverable because she had been paralyzed on one side. She had lost her ability to speak, and while not impugning her mental ability at all, she had lost her ability to speak, and she had lost her ability to be mobile in any way. And she genuinely, the story that my mother and grandmother and grandfather told at the time was that they did everything they could to bring Mimi home because she was unhappy there. And I don't doubt that's the story they tell themselves. I think personally it probably got too expensive, and my grandmother desperately wanted her to have some degree of dignity and luxury. Because you gotta remember, y'all, this was the 90s. At the time, there was a middle class in America, and it was pretty big. And hell, I was a part of it. But all it took for me to be a part of the middle class as a child of that era was my grandfather worked, my mother worked, and my grandmother worked. Also, we had a permanent roommate that I'm not going to go too deep in that I called my Uncle Al. And he lived in a room upstairs. My grandfather and grandmother, when they got the house on my grandfather's military benefits, basically planned everything out in case America went downhill. They just didn't plan for it late enough. They also didn't, you know, build in an empathetic system within our family to build up a strong household. So when the pandemic hit and when everything went to shit, my family followed in suit and went to shit. There's a reason I live with my bestest friend in the world, David, and not any family. Even though I do still have a few living members left. I am looking for my coffee. Give me just a moment. I'm also keeping a close eye on the time because here in about, I'd say a little less than an hour, I'm going to have to dip out and start running to work. Technically, I would be heading out in about 4 minutes, but I feel like this video deserves some degree of brevity. This might cost me a lot in the end, who knows. All I know for sure is that empathy is something that, yes, we all need, but it's something you have to work on. Try, if you will, to imagine empathetic experiments every day. And by that, I do mean just that, experiments. When you see an insect or something like that flying around you, look and honestly think about what that insect's life might be like. I mean, not in the pure humanist you are the insect sense, but just in the sense of, what do you think it does all day? And then look into it. Try to grow genuine interest in some things around you. Read things about people that you wouldn't normally read, and not just the rage-baity things. You need to read genuine material, poetry, things from that perspective. another way to grow your empathy is to be empathetic to oneself as well. Because if you think you're a piece of shit and nobody should get empathy and fuck you and fuck the world and everything's burning down and well, guess what? You're not gonna really give a fuck about empathy, because who the fuck cares? The world is shit and everybody in it's shit, you know? You gotta have empathy for yourself as well. Like I said, y'all, this deserves a script, and I will try to do a script for it eventually. I just never have the frickin' time to sit down and write. Maybe the next time I have a crash out session and I just can't move and I'm staring at the floor, I'll jot down a few words if I can get the chance. But, like I said, it's hard. Empathy's one of those grasping subjects, if that makes sense. Because I do believe there's a big rise in sociopathy, and I think that TikTok and things like that have a hand in it. Because a lot of our worst behaviors are getting held up as, oh, but that's just being cheeky. Oh, but that's not that bad now. When, yeah, y'all, it is that bad. We need to be more sympathetic and empathetic with each other. I mean, again, I try not to be rude, but hell, the audacity of a lot of people. There's another creator I need to shout out, but I don't know where her content is at. She does a lot of coverage of scenes, and one of the scenes she covered, I think I shared it to the community page. If I didn't, I will. She's another one of those that, surprise, surprise, I like her and I agree a lot with her, but I don't agree with everything she says. And I think that's a good place to go, y'all, because, I mean, I don't want y'all to ever fully agree with me about everything. We should have disputes. But arguing about whether books are good or bad, whether Star Trek or Star Wars is the better series, what's better, cartoon or anime, and what is cartoon and anime? Because, again, what's Avatar? Technically, American standard, it's anime, but it wasn't made in Japan, it was made in Taiwan. And it was technically made by Taiwanese artists in America. We can have these, I don't mind debating these things. But, hey, should we take care of our olds until they die of natural causes, or should we just cap them in the back of the head in a field? No, these things are not things we're going to debate. People deserve dignity. Now, yes, if the person says, I want to go out like an orc or a Klingon, and I want to battle a moose or whatever, yeah, fuck it. If we've got the time and the ability to do it with dignity, show. But most of the time, no. People deserve to have the security that you will have some dignity at the end of life. And for that, we'll have to fix the medical industry, because privatizing it and making it to where we can just send anyone anywhere is part of the problem. The only reason my grandfather got the end-of-care life he got was because he had worked in the military and in the government for so long, so he had those badass dividends. Most people that work in the military and the government, they end up at the VA. And you end up with whatever dividends and benefits you can fight like hell for. We gotta fix it. And we're not gonna fix it with psychotic and sociopathic, yes, there's a difference, members in office. I mean, honestly, the amount of politicians that say, well, we just need to get rid... The amount of politicians that compare each other to parasites, to insects, to mold and fungus and rot and all of these terrible things. Yeah, that's how empathy dies. Because, again, if Grandma constantly calls me a F-slur every time I see her, makes me a little less caring if she, you know, has a dignified and pleasant evening. Not saying that's a good thing. In fact, that's a bad thing, y'all. That's a bad part on my behalf. But I'm also not going to demonize the person who goes, yeah, nah, I feel you, I'm not dealing with that shit. Hell, it's like a number of people that gave my druggy uncle drugs because he claimed to take care of my grandfather. Yeah, that's because his one drug dealer had told him that, you know, did it on the side because you gotta exist in America. Well, dude, I'm sorry, I love my daddy, but When my daddy gets to where he's shitting his britches and can't hold his shit together, yeah, he's going to a home. Y'all, I'm not good or bad, no judgment. It kills your soul. I mean, hell, the man I respected more than anything else in the world, trigger warning here, I guess it's a form of abuse. It wasn't his fault. Alzheimer's and dementia had robbed him of his brain and faculties. And he was having a moment while on the toilet. So I had to go in there and basically not really wrestle him, but from his perspective, it probably seemed like I was trying to fight him. And he smeared his, trigger warning for fecal matter and poop stuff. Give you just a minute. Okay. Sorry for the jaunty little tune, but when I do a trigger warning for something like that, I want to give everybody a chance to, you know, fuck off so they don't get upset or get sickened by what I'm about to say. As I was saying, I warned you it was poop stuff. He was on the toilet and he felt that something, insect, spider, something scary was coming out the wall, and I had gone in there to try to basically control the situation, because normally I gave him his dignity and privacy. I go in there and I'm, Dad, what's wrong? Talk to me. Just no words, just gibberish and pointing at the wall. And from my empathy books, they had told me to, okay, if you don't see it, still understand that he's seeing it. And so I immediately placed myself in between him and what he was pointing at. At this point, much like an animal in the zoo, he threw a big old wad of mud at me. And it was not a big room. He got me. And y'all, I don't know about you and body fluids, but me and body fluids, I don't particularly care for them, even when they're my own, much less someone else's. It took everything in me not to turn that into a fight, because it wasn't his fault, and I could see in the man's face that he was scared to death of something that I couldn't see that wasn't there. And so, covered in the man I respected the most in the world, my father's shit, I still tried to basically get him to calm down and to get to safety, while also trying to clean up the excrement. And we got it done, but by the time I was done, I'll admit it, y'all, I put a hole in the drywall. I had a lot of displaced emotions that I didn't know what to do with, but I couldn't displace them on him. Love him or hate him, like it or leave it. He was my patient at that time. And yeah, I was basically totally the fuck alone, because druggy uncle to speak of was at the time passed out after his drug trips, and he claimed to watch after in the night, but several nights when insomnia took me, he was napping on watch, because, well, whatever happens, God'll wake me up. This is why, y'all, when it comes to religious folks, I try to have as much empathy as I can, but it's a hairpin trigger between me saying something highly rude. And it's not on them. It's not their fault. I understand, and that's why I try to always, much like a detective in a movie will tell you to follow the money. When it comes to what's pissing you off or what's making you happier, follow the emotional river. See what it's leading to, if you're brave enough. Because sometimes it leads us to nightmare realms. But follow that river. We need to self-discover more. We need to disconnect and shut down more sometimes. Because that's also how you build your empathy. You have to sit without TikTok, without YouTube, without background noise, and breathe. And think. Read stories written in journal form, ideally IRL stuff from people of that culture. Not just, because again, when it comes to TikTok, when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to all of these other forms, they're there to grab your attention. They're showing the best and the worst of themselves. Fuck that shit. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're entertained by that, I'm not throwing any shade your way. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just saying, don't base what you think life is based on anything social media. Even my content, and I try my best to keep it real with y'all, but even my content I doctor up a bit. I mean, why y'all think it is? I got my laptop hooked up, but I still haven't got a room clean enough, in my opinion, to stream from like an office. I still don't. I'm very, hell, I'll call it shallow or whatever you like to say. I want to project the level on y'all that when I'm telling you about this stuff, you don't look at me like Roach King or like Quarter Burger or like any of them nasty motherfuckers, you know? I want to, since I have 3 children in my audience, or 4 now according to the algorithm, I want to be a good example, as best an example as I can be, while also trying to talk about, you know, real shit, important shit that goes on. That's typically why all my shit and fucking goddamn streams are gonna be right now. Early morning streams. Here in just a bit, the walk and talk. I might do some. But it's because typically I don't have small children in my stream this early. They're in school, they're socializing with their people, and that's where they need to be. Honestly, I wish the market was in such a way that I could tell these kids to fuck off and, I guess not say it that way, but to send them to a place that I know that they would have a better time. It's like I tell people all the time with my animals, which I love my animals. But if I could send them to a place that they'd be happier and more content, and I mean it, I would. But I feel that, you know, with Roach King, Quarter Burger, Dr. Disrespect, Shadiversity, with all these terrible Andrew Tate, all these terrible people out there, well, it's my responsibility. I'm not a great role model. Shit, I definitely wouldn't, like, babysit or anything like that. But, you know, I feel like I'm better than Quarter Burger. If I give a point, I'm at least going to try to... What up, fan man? You're up early. How you doing? I'm just yapping about empathy and stuff like that. How to grow it, how to show it. The copper update finally came. This afternoon we're going to do a lot of fun building stuff, but first I'm just trying to make sure we got a good space for it, and sadly I'm about to have to get off of here because I'm about to have to start walking to work. Sorry about that. No worries. I need one more piece of wool to build a bed. Let's see. Sweet. I think, do I have walls? Yes, I have walls. Alrighty. Oh yeah, but yeah, empathy is an important skill to learn. It's an important thing to use, and personally I find the best way to use it, or to build it, would be to check out your local library. There you'll find a good number of books that are like journals. Journals are the best way to build an empathetic lens because people aren't just clear-cut what they were. Nobody was born as they are. We all develop and grow. So seeing how and why someone came to the opinions they did is an important one. I will try to get a good reading list or something like that together on the community page. I wish I could remember what they were. I try to stay out of the teen and young adult sections in the library here because kids spaces. But they were like journal entries from soldiers, journal entries from kids in Japan before and after bombing and stuff like that. Just empathetic works. Try to understand people that were here before us. And then, like, when I started studying theology, like the actual trying to study theology, I started reading stuff like Braden Sweetgrass, Homo Deus by Naraval Grandi, I want to say their name is. And you can get all these on audiobooks, and for a lot of the content, I would definitely recommend the audiobook, just because it's some heavy, like, terminology stuff that it's easier to hear and write down than it is to try to just play it by ear with it. But for certain books like Robert Sapolsky, you'd be better to have the book, because when it comes to, like, where the empathy comes from in the human brain, quadrant-wise, like sectional, yeah, it's a lot better to have the chart. It's a lot better to have the chart, because after a while, it starts to just, on the audiobook, sound like they're making fun of us because the way they say in photoganglions or something like that. But, you know, each thing has its own context and content. I think I'm going to use those little flat rocks here if I still got them in my inventory. Which, of course, I don't. Shit. Oh, well. We'll mine down to make that one work out. But yeah, I'm about to have to run out the door. I'm just heading back up to main base, and hopefully when I get home, if I have the... We'll do a quick Spider-Man stream first until the console overheats, and then do a wind down with the Minecraft. That way we can build a little copper golem area, ideally, put a chest area in, and let them start organizing some of our stuff. But yeah, also figure I should show you, because it looks cool in my opinion. It looks kind of basic, but I dig it. This is the copper armor. I think it looks nice for what it is. It kind of just looks like leather, a little shinier. But I'm curious to how it's going to oxidize as it goes, and if it's going to oxidize and turn green as it takes damage, or just like over time. There's a lot of fun stuff we're going to do with it, hopefully. But either way, y'all, let me... Oh, that was a weird screen to get to. Let me find my emotes. I hope y'all have a good day. Remember, try to be empathetic. That's the word of the day if I'm going to introduce such a thing to the channel. And be good, y'all. We'll see you later. Bye, Pan Man.